This is Strictly Business, presented by the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce. Sponsored in part by the law offices of Young Wooldridge, San Joaquin Community Hospital.
Hi, my name is Melissa Rossiter, and you're watching Strictly Business for March 9th, 2015. On today's show, we have Kathy Miller and Stan Gomes of Aera Energy LLC, who will be joining us to discuss the Aera Academy and how the state-of-the-art training facility is changing the way Aera employees are learning. Then on the show, we'll have Chris Hamilton with the law offices of Young Wooldridge, who will discuss some of the basics about limited liability entities to help you avoid personal liability for your business activities. Finally, Richard Chapman, the president and CEO of the Current Economic Development Corporation, will explain how you can attend this year's Current Economic Summit. But first, let's take a look at some business news that you can use. The State Employment Development Department released new projections last week that show industry employment in Kern County could reach nearly 372,000 by the year 2020. That's nearly 15% increase over the next 10 years. 50% of that projected growth is concentrated to three sectors: educational services, healthcare and social assistance, and professional and business services, and leisure and hospitality. And Bakersfield workers are some of the hardest working in the state. A new study by WalletHub listed Bakersfield as the second hardest working city in California. The analysis used 7 key metrics, including labor force participation rate, average weekly work hours, and a number of workers with multiple jobs. The study found that the average Bakersfield worker was on the job for about 39 hours, and about 71% of the labor force participated. Payroll firm Automatic Data Processing reported that the private sector added about 212,000 jobs in February. While economists say the latest numbers are good, February's total is still down from the 250,000 jobs gained in January. Economists predict that the current pace, the economy should return to full employment by mid-2016. The Sacramento Bee reported that the state's Economic Development Department has hired nearly 500 new employees to process claims faster. The move came after Governor Jerry Brown ordered the department to beef up customer service. Californians applying for unemployment benefits now have to try about 5 times to reach someone compared to 31 times last year. State officials say despite the progress, fixes are still needed to upgrade the department's agent technology. More restaurants and retail choices are coming to Bakersfield, as several companies have signed on to occupy the former Three-Way Chevrolet site on California Avenue. The Bakersfield Californian reported that Starbucks, a Verizon wireless store, and 2 Southern California restaurant chains, Corner Bakery and The Habit, will build new locations on the old site located at California Avenue and Real Road. Grading for the property began in February, and the first phase is expected to open in late summer. The Sacramento Bee reported that Target Corporation has announced plans to eliminate $2 billion in cost over the next 2 years to help the retailer compete with other chains and appeal to shoppers buying and researching on their mobile devices while they shop. The move includes slashing several thousand jobs, mainly in its corporate headquarters in Minnesota, and establishing centralized teams based on specialized expertise. Target also plans to invest about $2 billion mainly on their technology side. The retailer hopes this shift will help increase its online sales and projected sales growth. Local farmers will be getting more water from the state than previously thought. The State Department of Water Resources said that it will be able to allocate 20% of what its urban and agricultural users normally receive. That's up from January's projection of 15%. Heavier rains in December helped raise the supply. The state's announcement follows one from the federal water authorities that some customers may not receive any federal water this year. The LA Times is reporting that the number of bills introduced by California senators by Friday's deadline was the lowest number since 1989. Senators introduced about nearly 800 bills compared to the Assembly, who introduced over 1,500 bills. Some of the key topics found in the bills submitted, including legalizing internet poker in California, expanding social services, and improving privacy among internet users. And if you're in the market for a new car, going green could be cheaper for you. A new bill circulating the state legislature proposes to cut the state sales tax on green cars by more than half in an effort to increase sales. The reduction would apply to electric, hydrogen fuel cell, plug-in hybrids, and compressed natural gas vehicles. The bill still has to clear several committees before it heads to the Assembly for a vote later this year. And the Sacramento Bee is reporting that a lawmaker has the answers to the current debate over tuition at the University of California system. His solution is establish a new campus. The new UC Tech campus would focus solely on the STEM program, which would be science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. The bill would set aside $50 million for a feasible study, land acquisition, and an initial building costs. So far, UC officials have not commented on the plan. And California State University faculty members say professor salaries are lower than those at other universities across the state. The California Faculty Association released a report that shows CSU salaries have remained flat, while the UC system and community colleges have increased professor salaries. CSU officials say rebuilding the system's tenured track faculty and adjusting compensation rates are amongst its funding priorities. And Cal State Bakersfield is expanding its physical education and offerings as it opened 2 new labs last week. One of the new PEAK labs will focus on physiological and human performance assessment as it relates to physical activity and sports. The other will focus on biomechanics and motor control. CSUB officials say the new PEAK labs will give students an enhanced learning experience and allow the university to offer more services to the community. All right, coming up next, we'll have more on Strictly Business. We'll see you in a few minutes.